Sistah, sister, sister, sister talk, sister, 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 sister talk, sister, 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 sister talk, sister, 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 sister talk. Something on your mind anytime.
Coming to you live from New York City. You're watching Sistah Talk TV show. I'm your host and sister, Deetra Kelsey. Today is August 29th. Michael Jackson would have been 57 years old. And we thought it was appropriate to start the show with his hit song, They Don't Really Care About Us. And that's the big question we're going to ask you, the viewer, along with my panelists. Are we really cared about? Do Black Lives Matter? Do you know her name? Say her name. First, I want to introduce my sister friends who are going to help me answer this question. First, Lauren P. Razor, Esquire. This past May, Lauren was appointed Corporation Counsel for the City of Mount Vernon, New York. She has a bachelor's degree in business management from Long Island University and a Juris Doctor from Fordham University School of Law. Lauren is overseeing the investigation of the death of 42-year-old mother of 8, Renette Turner, who was found dead in a Mount Vernon, New York Police Department holding cell. In addition, she is a motivational speaker, entrepreneur, and author. Her book, Living the Wealthy Life, outlines her own strategies for achieving a life of success after growing up in a rough New York neighborhood in a turbulent time. Sitting next to Lauren is Danette Chavis, the founder of National Action Against Police Brutality, a grassroots organization created in response to the epidemic of police brutality and murder across the nation. In 2004, Danette lost her son, Gregory Chavis, by way of police brutality and negligence. Last but not least, actually sitting next to Danette, is Charlotte Capers, AKA Sha Boogie.
Hey.
She's a regular here on Sistah Talk. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good.
Founder and CEO of Revolution Media, a new media company that leverages social media to change the narrative. Her popular radio show and podcast, Why You Mad Son, which deals with the social ills plaguing the human community, has over 3 million listeners worldwide and boasts a legion of loyal fans in the hip-hop culture. Now, last but not least, we're talking to Dr. Tyreen Wright. Dr. Tyreen Wright is a scholar, human rights activist, poet, local TV and radio producer, and the founder of African Women for Africa and Global Africa Press. She is the co-host and producer of Afrobeat Radio, heard on WBAI 99.5 FM and here in New York City. She also teaches for one of the Ethnic Studies Center at the City University of New York, and her new book, Words for Liberation, will be released next month. Welcome to Sistah Talk TV show. Let's give it up. Give it up. Thank you. So viewers, I want to ask you the question, has there been any progress in the movement Say Her Name or Black Lives Matter? I want you to call in 212-757-1393, 212-757-1393, and chime in along with myself and the panelists. So sisters, I just want to ask you, do you think there has been any progress?
There has been progress in a number of body count number. The numbers of females and men dying in prisons on the streets through chokeholds have gone up exponentially. Mm-hmm. And it seems that all we're doing is marching and hashtagging.
Mm. What do you think?
Well,
go ahead.
Part of it also is that we have to look at black women holistically. The number of police death in custody, it's true, it has increased. I believe it's 5 that we know about in terms of death in custody. But the biggest issue in terms of black women in our lives are other issues like health care, the fact that there's domestic violence also on the rise. So as we have this dialogue, we have to get to some of the issues, sexism, unequal pay, all of those issues are part of why our lives matter. So even though we may deal with a specific case, we have to look at our issues on a global level, and I'm happy that I'm here to talk about the global level of what's happening with black women.
I think when it comes to the issue of police murders, I think that this government made it clear that black lives do not matter, and is the main reason why a movement was started declaring that black lives do matter. The body count, as she said, has continually gone up for the last several years, and is one of the main reasons why I launched National Action Against Police Brutality, because it's at the point where we can no longer deal with these murders on a case-by-case basis. There's hundreds of cases, murders that occur that never even come to the attention of the media or the people. Okay, so we have to deal with this one time, get it right across the board, and that's where we're at with this.
How about yourself, Dr. Tyree Wright?
Well, we know that black lives don't matter in the United States because that's not the history of this country. We're here because black life didn't matter, and we were used as chattel slaves, right? Chattel enslavement, chattel slavery. So it's almost like as if we're revisiting that issue. We know that our arrival on the shores of the Western Hemisphere had everything to do with the fact that African life was devalued, and it has been a continuous situation since then. So we are steadily fighting our way out of this. And yes, we have global issues that impact all African women in general. You can call that triple oppression, struggle against racism, sexism, and capitalism, to be quite frank. And so, yes, there's a common denominator for all African women worldwide, but at the same time, in America, we have to fight for black lives to matter in a place where black lives have never mattered.
You know, I wonder why that it's being overshadowed as far as the sisters, black women lives matter. You know, say her name and so forth. You know, now it's coming to the forefront. And just like the attorney said, Counselor Racer said that, you know, it is a global effect. And it really is, it's hitting home also, it's always been home. But right now, it's being shout out, it's being somewhat put in the forefront, you know, not too much, you know, but somewhat. I think we're still being ignored. In a sense, you know, domestic violence, the health care.
I think we are being ignored, and I don't know if it's right to say that these are sudden occurrences, like with Say Her Name or women being murdered by police.
Well, I say that it's sudden occurrences because it's coming out to the forefront. It's coming out to the media right now.
Movement Say Her Name, Black Lives Matter needs to happen because people are under the illusion that these things are not occurring. Okay, people started Say Her Name because they was like, hold up, wait a minute, it's black women being murdered too. So they had to put that out in the forefront to make people realize that these things are occurring. So it's necessary to have Say Her Name, and it's necessary to say Black Lives Matter. Like she said, chattel slavery or slavery is nothing new. Okay, the impression is that it went away. So sometimes we might need to revisit those things because when we think of slavery of African Americans, we think of it as in the past tense. Like that was back then, it's no longer going on now. Right. And unless we have blazing examples right in our face, we will continue to believe that.
Right.
Let's talk about, I know something really tragic happened in your county in Mount Vernon, New York. Renette Turner, a mother of 8, was found dead in a holding cell. And I know there's so much you can say about that, but could you just give us just a brief synopsis of just what happened with that?
Well, the most important thing is, as the Corporation Counsel, I'm not in charge of an investigation.
Okay.
What I have done, which is unique, is I have made a suggestion that the City of New York, also City of Mount Vernon, have a individual that is going to track and follow the investigation. So we have someone who has law enforcement background, is an attorney, a civil rights attorney, and is a partner of a law firm. And that was my suggestion, so that we can make sure that what the department is saying is what it's actually happening. So that's what we're doing now. In terms of her death, it has been, it's now under the jurisdiction of the Attorney General. Due to the activisms of the mothers that are here, an Attorney General has been appointed as a special prosecutor under the executive order, and that Attorney General has a team, and that team is of color. Most of the lawyers are of color. And those are the individuals that are investigating the case. Mount Vernon Police Department is not investigating the case at this time due to the fact that the special prosecutor is there. But we are, as a Corporation Counsel, we are looking at it carefully under my jurisdiction, and we have appointed someone that is independent who can look at this case and monitor it also.
As a corporation counsel, it would be your office who would be responsible for defending any accusations if they are brought against any officers for the wrongful death of Raynette Turner. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. And let me say this to you. My experience has been, prior to taking a corporation counsel position, I was a civil rights lawyer. I had filed claims on behalf of defendants, not in the large cases, because I didn't get the large cases, but young men that have been illegally stopped and frisked, young men that have been assaulted by police officers. My 15 years of practice, I have worked in the community. I've represented numerous people. I get people out of arraignments when mothers call me in the middle of the night. So prior to this is my background. What is consistent about that background, what is consistent, is that I took a step out of it and I made sure that there was someone who was actually reviewing what the department was doing, so we know exactly what is being said, or we know exactly what that investigation is, so there won't be information brought back to us that we can't verify. I think that is a unique role, and that is a role that I play. It is what it is. Whatever the case is and wherever it leads, it's going to lead to that. I am not concerned about any lawsuit. I'm not concerned about any of that. What I'm concerned is about whether truth is being told about that investigation and whether the officers that may or may not be involved have been truthful and have given truthful information. That is my role, because my reputation is important to me also. I live in the city of Mount Vernon. I'm concerned about her death. I want, if it's necessary, to have the appropriate internal changes if that is necessary. We're being patient with the Attorney General. My understanding is that they interviewed four of the jailers, I believe. 10 of the police officers they've interviewed. I also understand that they have 10 more officers. So we're in the process of doing that. In the process of doing that, we've taken a unique step. And at some point there will be time to talk about it in a different way. So I understand your concern.
We're going to take this phone call. No, keep, you know.
I don't want to talk over the
I'm
phone
sorry
call.
I'm cutting you all off, you know, so I will cut you off. Please don't take it personal. It's just time. We have a caller. You watch the Sistah Talk TV show. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what do you have to say?
Hi, Sistah Talk TV. This is Crystal.
Hi, Crystal. How are you doing? What do you have to say?
Yourself?
I'm fine.
That's good. And your guest? I wanted to say that apparently Black lives don't matter much to some people, because the African security guard who was shot in the head down at, I forget what,
Anybody know?
Federal Plaza or something, the Federal Building.
Okay, when was this, Crystal?
Huh?
When was this?
This was what, 2 weeks ago?
Oh, okay, go ahead.
He was an African, gorgeous guy, Deidre.
Okay.
Gorgeous.
Okay, so.
African, and this white guy who was supposedly disgruntled, that he got fired. You probably heard about the story. He got fired. He was working with the company. Supposedly he exposed them for doing some ill practices.
Right.
He got fired. He comes to the place and shoots this African in his head who was supposed to be getting off.
Okay.
But he did a double shift. I'm only bringing them up because, I mean, what happened in Virginia, I believe it was two TV people got shot. Okay, Grant, that's. I'm not saying that they deserved anything. I'm just saying that how come when it's us, first of all, his wife should say that she wants to see the tapes. Because I think it's a bias crime.
Right.
I think that white man killed him because he was African, and it should be treated as a bias crime or a hate crime. That way, maybe she'll get more money as far as insurance, et cetera, Deidre. He killed him because he was black.
Okay.
And we have to speak on it and keep it out there in the forefront.
Okay.
We're not talking about him. We're talking about something else.
All right, Crystal.
Nobody's talking about it. That's why everything is the reporters.
Okay, thank you, Crystal. Thank you. That's kind of murky right there. That incident where the white guy came to his job, I believe after he was fired. I'm not sure. I can't really comment on that because I'm not sure what happened with that. But I understand your point and all that. Child Boogie,
Yes.
I hear you. I feel your energy and all that. So and I feel you also, Dr. Wright.
When it comes to Black Lives Matter, I believe we have to understand that we are playing chess, not checkers. We are on a special type of board game when it comes to how we fight this and how we begin to try to affect change. Mm-hmm. What I do not want to happen, and while I understand that women matter as much as men, because we can't have one without the other.
And that's my point. We're still somewhat in that shadow.
There can't be the divisiveness. Yeah. There cannot be allowed to come in and say, Black lives matter, but women lives matter too. It's like running into a cancer ward and telling someone stomach cancer, I know you got stomach cancer, but my esophagus cancer matters. It's cancer. We're trying to save a life. It doesn't matter what type of cancer it is. Male, women, we're all Black. It's the same thing that happened kind of with the feminist movement that disrupted the Black Panthers and began all this interfighting, so nothing got done, and it was easier to take apart the movement. So we have to be very careful when we start saying women's lives matter. Say her name. We're all Black.
Child Boogie.
I'm just saying.
No,
I like that name. I think I'm going to change my name to something different.
I'm just saying.
I hear that. I hear what
we
you're
have to be
saying.
very careful. It's a thin line.
Are you saying that it creates a divisiveness amongst our community,
it does.
The Black community,
I already
and the African
see
community?
Black men and Black women fighting about whose life matters more when all of our lives matter the same. No one's life is more important than the other.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
See,
go ahead.
we're gonna, that topic, see.
This
is the heat.
It gets very, exactly.
Do you want to get hot in here?
It's a,
This is
very,
That's why we're here
right now.
That's why we're here.
Okay,
That's why we're here.
so let's say something about America first, okay? In this country, we should remember that, amongst white Americans, right? The only person who was recognized as a human being, as a citizen, as anything, were white land-owning males in this country, right? This is why. So that for people in general, we should understand that women, Black or white, would not have the opportunity to vote in this country until 1920, which was the 19th Amendment to the Constitution. It would take 2 amendments to the Constitution to allow African women in this country to have the right to vote. Right. So this country is chauvinistic by nature. They could have cared less about identifying white women as full citizens, okay? White women, when African men get the right to vote, suffrage, with the 15th Amendment to the Constitution, the white women immediately show who they are, even though they had engaged in the abolitionist movement, and say, oh no, we should have been first, much like the Hillary Clinton-Obama situation. Oh no, it's my turn. All right. Okay, but that happens and it creates a situation, right? Now, my point is simply this. We're not in a country that respects women. We're not even living in a country that respected their children until the turn of the century. Let's be real, okay? So now when you talk about African people, that you're compounding the situation. In our communities, we come from communities originally, not here, originally that are matriarchal, matrilineal. The woman is essential. Okay? And so we are experiencing a combination of living in a patriarchal society where the woman is erased and the man is elevated, and we're living under systematic racism, white supremacy, and culture that says everyone else other than white people are invisible.
Please call the show, 212-757-1393. It's cold here. Need some more heat. 212-757-1393. I'm Deidre Kelsey, host of Sister Talk Talk TV show. Want to know what you have to say. And also, the audience members, we have audience today, come up to the mic and chime in or question me or the panel. Okay, I see you wiping the brow. What do you have to say? Both of y'all, what do you have to say?
Well, before the first caller came in, I just wanted to speak further on Raynette Turner.
Sure.
Because that's a terrible, sad situation. The family and, in fact, the public is still waiting for information on that. About 2 weeks ago, a town hall meeting was held, you know, to hear from the people and speak out. And there were politicians and people who came there, but they gave no information to the family or the public as far as what is actually being done, beyond saying an investigation is being done.
So you're waiting for these answers and everything. Let me take this phone call.
Several
Hold up,
murders,
phone
that's the
call. Go
standard.
ahead.
Silence. Silence.
Okay, caller, you watch it. Okay,
Absolutely right.
you want to go ahead and
No,
respond?
go ahead, the caller's
Caller,
first.
you watch Sister Talk. Okay, yeah. What's your name? Where you calling from? What you have to say, sir?
Hey, Sister Deidre, how you doing? Brother Mark from Harlem.
Brother Mark, how you doing?
Oh, I'm a good boy. Now I don't watch your show, man. Oh, my goodness.
We have some intelligent, beautiful sisters,
Oh,
don't we?
Listen, black women up there, I love y'all with a passion.
Okay, what you have to say, Mark?
Yeah, real quick, love my mother, love you black women, you're on target. Everything is there. Sister Razor, you're right. The bottom line is we need to return to our power status to solve this problem because we're not in power. And Sister Wright, you just laid out the whole history in a couple of words, eloquent. And Sister Black Panther there, girl, I need a hug. You serious? And Sister Davis, of you, keep up the struggle. This is where we at. This is where we gotta go. But I'm saying, black man, you better tighten up your belt and return to your manhood, peace, and love.
Okay, thank you, Brother Mark. We have one more phone call. Caller, you watch the Sister Talk TV show. What's your name, where you from, and what you have to say?
Me?
Yeah, you have to turn your TV
great.
down, please.
My name is.
Turn your TV down. Yep, we have all day.
Oh, we do?
Thank you so much. Thank you for this show.
Okay,
My name is Dale Rice Serna.
Okay,
Oh,
I have a question about when we look at the incarceration rate of black women, 6.9 times more likely than white women. When we look at the underprotection, which all the panelists have talked about, the over-policing of black women, the underprotection, what would be their strategies for how we as a community can address this now that we know the fact?
Very good question. Very good question. Thank you. What is the strategy? What do we do?
Part
I
of the
mean,
strategy is understanding the tools that are going to be used against us. A lot of people don't understand right now that because of the amount of money that's being spent on police brutality settlement cases, they are now changing the narrative in that they are now equipping drones with tear gas, rubber bullets. This is real. Y'all can look at it. Tear gas, rubber bullets, mace, and tasers. So now you don't have an actual police officer hemming you up. You have a automatic or a robot from the sky tasing you. That takes the onus off the department itself, puts it on the machine. If we don't begin to understand what's coming, we will have no way to fight it. It's like being in a continuous Terminator movie almost.
all right.
So that's part of the strategy. That's part of how we use our power.
I
Knowing what's
have
coming.
been demanding forever and a day police accountability because I honestly believe that until police are held accountable for the murders being committed, you can get all the cameras you want, you can get a special prosecutor, you can get anything you think will work. If police are not being charged, arrested, and convicted, the murders will continue. It's as simple as that.
Even
And
though
it's
we have the
deeper.
cameras and all that.
Listen,
Absolutely.
a
It's
camera
not
will
gonna
give you
camera won't
front
help
row
anything.
seats to a murder committed. That's all. Okay, ain't nobody going to jail.
We learned
okay,
that
the
with Rodney
same
King.
laws that exist right now that allow a police to get away with murder are the same laws still in place while you out there filming and saying, see what they did.
Right.
Okay, and who we trying to show this to anyway? We know what it is. The people who hire and employ them, they know what it is. That's why they're willing to pay them in settlement offers to their victims and then retain them employed as police officer. Okay, explain to me how you can have dozens and dozens of police officers out in the street, murder people, and before you get to court, you want to give the family some money. Okay, I don't know no place in the United States of America where you can work for your employer, cause them to come out their pocket thousands and thousands of dollars that they have to pay out behind your actions, and you still got a job. Okay, so you can't tell me that it's not just an officer, it's the department. It's the attorney, it's the prosecutors who refuse to prosecute. It's the state attorney generals. You can go from the bottom to the top. Everybody got a nickel and a quarter. And that's why we need nationwide action. People in the movement, I don't care, say your name, Black Lives Matters, whatever. Everybody want to deal with it in their little special quarter. But until we come together as one and call this government out on its false claims of liberty and justice for all, it ain't happening. Ain't nothing going down.
Counselor, let me hear your voice, please.
Well, I don't disagree. And I said when I was in a protest with a gentleman that was arrested because he was filming the police officers in Harlem, and because he was filming them while they were making these arrests, I was involved in that. And what I said was, in New York City, they spend millions of dollars in settling these cases. And it's more or less a people-oriented movement, because if you're spending billions of dollars in settlement, that means you can spend the same money in appropriate training of these officers.
To hell with training. No disrespect. No disrespect. I'm very passionate about this, and you know what? When Eric
This
Garner,
is a talk show.
when Eric Garner got murdered, the commissioner offered training for his officers. Okay, nobody don't give a damn about their training. They want the officers to go to jail for the murder committed, not their training.
No, what I'm saying to you, there may not be.
She on the enemy side. Okay, I'm gonna tell you, you on the enemy side. You sat here and you gave a nice resume about you fighting on the good side and your marches and your rallies. Right now, today, you on the enemy side. I just want to make that clear.
I want to say something,
she's the counsel for the city
Let me
of
say
Mount
this,
Vernon.
This
She's
is
the
the
individual in the rain that's the case.
I love you,
If
but
they
I'm going to
find
talk
somebody guilty, she's going to defend them. I just want your audience to know who she is.
Okay,
I
can say my name.
I said it for you.
You don't have to say my name.
I said it for you. I said it for you. I said it for you because you jumped and dodged around. I said it for you.
You better understand who I am. Oh, you better understand and say my name. My name is Lauren Razor, and I grew up 147th Street and 158th Street in Harlem. That's who I am. And I'm in this case to make sure that the police department, they are called on the carpet. I am watching this case, and an independent lawyer is watching this case, and you better hope that a person like me is watching what's happening in that police department. You don't understand.
Let me say
You don't
something.
really understand. You don't understand.
Wait a minute.
You just understand. Are you kidding me? Yes, they are. No, but you don't know what my function is. See, you don't know because you're ignorant. Because you are ignorant. Because you are ignorant.
That's your function.
Because you are ignorant. Because you are ignorant. You don't really understand. You better understand.
Wait a minute.
BS affects me in this type of way.
We're wasting time. We're wasting time. We're wasting time.
That's a sad scenario. That's a sad scenario.
It's a sad scenario where you can sit up here and talk about what you did on the side of the right, and then you flip and you go to the other side and try to act like you're the same person. You're not. You're not that person. You're not that person.
You can do whatever you want. You can say whatever you want to say.
I did.
It's all right. It's all right. I know you're hurting. You don't know who I am.
You know, I would tell people to go to video if I can't talk. I'm serious. I'm very serious.
Well, you know, we talked about being respectful, and we're not. But if you don't want to be respectful, it's fine. If you're done, then get up and leave. If that's what you want to do. No, you are not respectful to me.
Let's go to video.
You're not
go back to Michael Jackson.
Wow.
I'm truthful with you.
You're not
truthful with you.
But I'm truthful
Let's go back to video.
No, it's not. It's not the
truth.
truth.
It is the
It is
truth.
absolutely not the truth.
Show me where I lied.
Okay, so
me
you
where I
did
was
lie.
wrong.
Here it is. I went out and made sure that there was an individual that can look at what the police department is doing, so you won't get filtered information. Okay?
Your
You
job,
don't
according to
understand.
Let me say this.
is
Can I say
You don't
something?
know
that
what my
police
job.
get called
You
up,
don't
and
know
I'm
what my
quoting
job.
you.
But I'm not. I apologize.
I'm not being disrespectful. I'm
but
being
this is
truthful.
where this started. Okay, and I knew it was coming. So don't think I wasn't aware.
Seems like when the protesters are black, the media uses some pretty harsh words.
The bad guys. Lawlessness, looting,
wild animals,
criminals, and thugs.
Thugs. Isn't it the right word?
However, if you're white and you're tearing up the city because of a game, you're just young people.
Young people danced on a flipped-over car.
As UK fans did stupid things.
Some maybe got a little out of control.
Seeing a scene like this just shows how passionate the UK fans are.
It's so tough to lose, and unfortunately the ugly side that we sometimes see in sports.
And notice how the police always show up to a black protest in military-grade equipment, and yet the media claims they're just doing nothing.
It's inexplicable why the police are doing nothing.
Let's mobilize the National Guard.
If I'm a rioter and I see the police doing nothing, I might feel like I have a license.
You would.
But at white riots, the cops actually are standing around doing nothing.
Another group of cops over there just standing there.
No one was really doing anything.
These guys look like they could be watching a parade. And why is it that the leadership of the black community is always called into question?
Where is the leadership?
Leadership.
The black leadership.
The absence. And it goes back to leadership, but that leadership has to come from the community.
But no one ever questions the leadership of white parents who let their kids burn down and vandalize their college campus.
These are just young college students who think they're playing some kind of a game with police officers.
You know, sometimes they don't even call a white riot a riot.
Party gone awry.
Some fans got a bit too rowdy after the win.
A dispute, a bloody brawl.
There was some type of altercation.
Waco, 170 arrested, 9 people dead.
They're not thugs.
Baltimore, no deaths, but it's a riot, chock full of thugs.
Thugs.
Just thugs. What if the media portrayed white rioters the same as black protesters? Let's switch the audio and see how it plays out.
Breaking news, violent protest.
What you're looking at is the unraveling of the civil society.
Criminals and thugs.
And they're raising hell, and they're destroying property.
These idiotic thugs, rioting and looting, are hurting their own people.
Wild animals burning buildings down.
Especially if they know the media's all there, right? Got the cameras on everyone. It's become its own reality show.
Who acts like that towards a police officer?
Think for yourself. Don't let racist media color your perceptions. Demand fairness in media coverage. Tell the media to put an end to calling black people thugs. Funny how the media covers white riots versus black protests.
Okay, this is Dietrich Kelsey. You just finished watching Sistah Talk TV show. Yeah, it got really heated in here. I apologize and what have you. I mean, everybody got emotional, including myself. I don't like to get that way. I do want to say this before we continue on. Danette, I feel your pain. I really do. I'm glad that you came on the show to discuss what had happened. I'm serious. I feel your pain. I really do. But also, I believe that Attorney Razor is in a precarious situation. Okay, people don't trust her because of her position. But I believe by talking to her and meeting with her and being referred by her also, that she cares about her community, she cares about what's going on, and she is there to make change. Change. I can't have that. I can't have not disrespecting me.
You know, it's a double-edged sword. I worked with an organization called Harlem Mother Saves. It's a group of parents who lost their kids to gun violence, some through the streets, some through police brutality. And these parents, it's a tricky situation when you have to deal with the politics after having lost a loved one. And it is very deep and it is very emotional. So I do understand the frustration of the two women. There's also needs to be the understanding that when we're talking about the police and bureaucracy and the system, we have to understand it was a system that was never designed for us. So trying to work from the inside to change things is a treacherous battle. The police in this country were not formulated to protect anyone. They were first formulated as slave catchers. This is the history that you need to understand. So you're trying to change a system of slave catchers that were given badges eventually.
And
this is the history that people do not understand when you're dealing with the police. So it's not an easy change. And anyone working for them will be seen as a tool of that system. So it's very hard.
Thank you, Chop Boogie. What's your name?
Hi. Good afternoon. My name is Cynthia Turnquist Jones.
Hi, how you doing?
I am an activist.
Right.
I am a mother
yes.
as well. I am also one of Ramali Graham's teacher. Ramali Graham was murdered in the bathroom by NYPD, right? I am also a member of Stop Mass Incarceration.
Right.
And so I think I saw you on, no, were you there? Well, okay, maybe you weren't.
Okay.
But I know there was a lot of individuals who gathered in Harlem the other night in regards to Stop Mass Incarceration. And the alarming thing is when you walked into the church, they turned the church into a museum. The museum was of the faces of the individuals who are famous for being murdered by police officers. But the church couldn't hold the number of faces of individuals who were murdered by police officers. Okay? So I am also from Mount Vernon.
Okay.
And I was the one that held the town hall meeting in Mount Vernon.
Yes.
And the reason why the town hall meeting was held in Mount Vernon was because of the silence. Now, we do understand that there is a special prosecutor who is assigned to Raynette Turner's case. And the reason why that special prosecutor is assigned to Raynette Turner's case is because of the plethora of mothers and fathers whose children were murdered, not just from New York, but from other states who fought to have a special prosecutor assigned to the case.
All right.
Right? However, we all know that investigations has always been conducted.
All right. Okay.
And we have no belief in the investigation whether a special prosecutor goes in there or not. Because you have individuals who have been murdered by camera have shown that they were outright murdered, and the police officer still get off scot-free.
Right.
There hasn't been one police officer who's been indicted and convicted the correct way.
Right.
That's right.
And the number of monies that they give out, the ones that make it to the news, is little in comparison to the ones who don't make it to the news.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you for your comment. Thank
Jump in. You know, there's an author by the name of Neely Fuller, and he says, if you do not understand white supremacy, racism, what it is, how it works, everything you think you understand will only confuse you.
Let's take this phone call right here. Carly watches the Talk TV show. What's your name, where you call from, what do you have to say? Hey, how you doing?
Hey, brother Ayo.
How you? I'm okay. How you doing, brother Ayo?
Good. Teacher, I want to say you're amazing how you hold the show together. And what Mrs. Wright was just saying just now, I really appreciate you sharing that information. But I'll be real quick because I know you got a lot of calls. And so, Anita, I got to side with Deidre. I feel your pain. Like, I don't know what it's like to lose a child. I can't imagine. So I understand where you're coming from. And to Mrs. Razor, you got to understand, so Anita's coming from a side. The system took her son. They took the system. So looking at you is frustrating. It's not really coming at you, but you work for the system. And I applaud your effort. You're amazing. You grew up but the system, if you were a separate person, if you had your own legal law firm, or you...
She does have her own
I've had my own legal law firm.
Okay, get to the point, brother Ayo.
Okay. Let me just say this. I'm running off course. Listen, the passion that you, this whole show, this was an amazing show.
Yes.
So I really appreciate it, and I'm sorry that the lives have been lost. But also say that don't stop this show, because there's still more that I need to know.
Okay.
And let me shut up and listen.
Okay.
But Sister Razor, just listen to what she has to say. Just listen. And Sister Anita, could you please share some more? Could you share what happened to your son so I can understand where this pain come from?
Okay.
I love you.
Thank you. Thank you. One more phone call, sister. You watch the Sister Talk TV show. This is Deetra Kelsey, your host. What's your name? Where you calling from? What do you have to say?
Yes, good afternoon, ma'am. The woman over on the left with the black sweater on. The point you never raised, and I'm a white man, as you can probably tell, and I'm very angry. What I see now, the show is totally against police. You never address the black-on-black crime in your overused word of community. Talk about filling a church with pictures of dead black people. You could fill Yankee Stadium, Madison Square Garden, with the crime that goes on in your communities on a daily basis.
Okay, thank
black
you.
on black.
Okay,
And
thank you.
cut me
We
off
got
because
you.
have
Thank you.
No, you should
wanna
definitely let
Oh,
her
yes, I
talk.
would love to answer that.
You should have let
I
him
mean,
cook.
first of all, let's just say something. The crimes that are committed in white communities are atrocious, okay? And when we talk about, actually, there should be a movement in this country by white women for the constant killing of white women by white men, okay? But that doesn't mean that white cops don't, on occasion, kill white people. We know that. We know that they kill white people as well. Unarmed white people also. But the problem here is that in a country that is ruled by white supremacy and culture, cops are representative of a system that has historically done that to African people, okay? So it's not, so we're talking about in modern times, we say, oh, well, he's racist. No, that was the rule, not the exception. Organizations like the Klan, these people were represented in the state, okay, as cops, as politicians, as public servants. They were one in the same, okay? So, you know, the caller, that's interesting that he would say that, but he needs to do the numbers in his own community.
Okay, thank you. You have audience member? We have 3 audience members that want to talk. 2, I believe, yeah. Come to the mic, please.
Oh, yes, good afternoon, my sisters. Thank you for Sister Talk.
Come to your mic a little bit more, yeah.
Yes, I said good afternoon to my sisters, and thank you for having Sister Talk so we can do this. Number one, we are the life givers. God granted us our womb, so we deliver these black men into the world, and we see them taken from us by a society that I called a sociopathic society. This country was founded at the end of a gun, and the original people, they like to be called First Americans. They're on reservations now. And denial is not the longest river in Egypt. And the Europeans who have this opinion, and I want to speak to my brother who was on the mic, they always like to make the victorious the victim. So we could probably fill Madison Square Garden with black-on-black crime, but they kill babies with guns and nobody says anything because the NRA is a very powerful lobby in this country. So that when you have a genocide agenda for us around the world, when you go around the world and find out that you are genetically and numerically deficient around the globe, then you set out to murder and destroy the people who can destroy you. Okay. I noticed there are only young men being killed because they carry the weapon to annihilate white people from the planet. Understand that. And because of the rape that has taken place, my mother was trapped in a white skin and married a black man, and they mistook her for white, so they beat my father for walking her to work. Right. So we've lived with this, and we live with our sons going to school not knowing whether they were going to come back alive because some person has been hired and is being paid to murder him. Okay. Because when you call yourself white supremacy domination, then somebody has to be under your foot.
Okay,
that would
thank
be
you.
me.
Thank you. We're going to take this phone call. Caller, you watching Sister Talk TV show? What do you have to say?
Yes, Deetra, your show is one of the few vehicles that we have, aside from Nan, the little hour or two that we get from Gary Bird. Your show is one of the few vehicles. And everything is all good. Even that white man called giving his piece, it's all good because we don't have that many vehicles to talk about anything. All we're getting, we're on the receiving end when it comes to media. So don't be upset at what he said. Those 2 sisters that's venting, it's all good. Your show is one of the few that we have.
Okay, thank you, Crystal. I appreciate this.
I want to respond to the caller.
Okay, sure.
The guy, he talked about black on black crime, which we've had in our community, seems like forever. I don't think that there's a black person in the black community who does not want to see an end to the black on black crime.
Right.
You know, my issue, you know, because we live there. Okay, we're subject, we have to duck and dodge a bullet as well. Nobody wants that there in their community, you know, but my issue is that when you send police into these communities and they're flooded, they're patrolling there in the name of crime prevention, solving crime, that's not what we see.
Right.
We see people being abused, people being harassed, and then when you count and you add up the people who are actually being arrested, it's people who are being arrested for selling and buying and distributing drugs. It's not people who's committing murder. Anybody in the hood can tell you they can shoot somebody, walk 3 blocks up, and stand there and watch the police stand there like they investigating. Okay, it's okay to kill people in the black community, but if you sell drugs, you go to jail for that.
Right.
Okay, so there's a problem with that. Years ago, the excuse of police for not solving crime and murder is because nobody won't snitch, nobody won't drop dime, the residents won't cooperate with us and tell us what they know. In this day and age, you got cameras on doggone every block there is. You see everything that goes on in the street. So what's the excuse now? And this is another reason why we say Black Lives Matter. I think we're talking to ourselves, trying to make ourselves understand that our lives matter.
All right. Child Boogie.
There's only one law in this country, and that is the law of money. And I think that we forget that. If you are not making money for the system, you will be forced to make money for the system, or you will be dead. A young man stole $5 worth of snacks out of a grocery store in April. He was unlawfully detained, thrown into a cell, and no one heard from him again until Wednesday when they found his dead, rotting body in a cell. So if the police are here to protect the corporate interests, and if you are not adding to that corporate interest, either as a debt slave on a plantation called a cubicle for a corporation, if you are not on the street selling drugs and promoting the poppy fields and what we go to Iran and Iraq for, y'all really think it's for democracy, it's for the freedom of those poppy fields and that cocaine and all those other things. If you are not part of that agenda to make money, then what good are you to the state?
Okay, we'll take this one last phone call. Caller, you watch the Sistah Talk TV show. What you have to say?
Yes, my name is Gail Wright Thurmond, and we've heard a lot of information. We know about 6.9 times Black women more likely to go to jail. We understand that Black girls comprise 2/3 of the justice system. We know that we're more likely to die at the hands of the police, Black women, than white women. What are the strategies that these women have? If each one of them could give a one-sentence strategy as to how we, the Black community, can do something. We know that we have the Black Boys Initiative. Have we pushed for the Black Girls Initiative? We know the problems now. The question is, what can we do as a community, all levels of us, to address it?
Thank you. Thank you.
Push for police accountability across the board.
What about yourself, Counselor?
Well, it's really about leadership to a certain extent. It depends on your leader. And your leader from the top down has to oversee and make sure that their police department is operating in a community-oriented fashion. What we have is sometimes a lack of leadership and understanding that it is their role to make sure that their department is community-friendly, their department follows the rules. So that's a start. Part of the issue is that they're judges. We have to deal with voting. We have to deal with all of those complex issues that put people on the bench that don't look like me, or put people on the bench, or put people in places that don't look like me, or may not even have the passion that I have for my community. So really, the entire system is part of our problem. So when we don't go to the polls and vote for that particular judge, and we let judges that don't look like us on the bench, and those police officers go before those particular judges, and those police officers and court officers actually guard those judges, we're back to square one. So it's more of a systemic issue that makes it a little bit more complex than to just have a one-hit wonder. I can say to you that the advocacy that brought a special prosecutor down is what we need. So I'm not saying this sister is not wrong or being angry at me, and I understand that. And she is part of the solution. And I have always been part of the solution, because I have to go home to a community and to a family of brothers, to a father that's 85 years old. So I have people that I have credibility with. So I want her to know that although she's made those statements, I'm working to the best of my ability to help and serve my community.
Okay, you have a studio audience. What do you have to say?
Hello, my name is Anthony A-Class Quiones. I'm from Harlem, New York. I was incarcerated for 10 years. I was released in 2011. So I saw firsthand the effects of what happens in society, try to break apart the families in the community. And my question to the panel, whether Shot Boogie want to take it or all you ladies could take it, what's your concern, your opinion about the demasculinization of man, of the black man in the community, or the masculinization of the woman? Because they're trying to flip the genders now. They're trying to put the man and the woman against each other. By how? By they switching the roles down. You take the black man out the element, out the family role as the head of the household, and you put the woman there to take the responsibility of everything, take the burden of everything.
Right.
Because you got the man in prison, or he's dead, in the street, however K2, however crack, whatever. Then you got the woman to take the responsibility. She's the male role model. She's the father now.
Okay, so I'll let them answer that briefly. We're almost running out of time.
Can I answer the other question first about what are our solutions?
Oh, yeah, sure, that's right.
So
I'm sorry.
just to say what some
That's
of
the
our
same,
solutions
yeah.
can be, first of all, it's not in the system. The black community is very well organized. Unfortunately, that is through the churches. We have more churches than we have liquor stores. You go into your churches, you say we want to police our own community. You go to your community board and you say to those people who look like you, who live on the right and the left of you, we are going to police our community. How dare you, average citizens in our community, sit here with military experience and so on and so forth, and don't understand how to apply that to your own community. When the cops come in our community, they need to see somebody first. We need to be working in parallel to that, where people don't walk in our churches and shoot everyone, without accountability. So even the police need to come to us and understand that there's some order in our community, and don't fear the police. You're gonna have to deal with us in our own communities.
All right. Anybody else have anything?
I do. My solution for it is, I know a lot of people won't like it or agree with it. It's a little revolutionary, but I say an eye for an eye. You take mine, I take yours. We are existing too much in relying on the system and asking for handouts. We respect white lives because if something happened to theirs, they would come into our communities and take us out.
I want to further speak on
Take us out.
accountability.
You take my child, I take yours.
Okay, before we move on, we got like 3 minutes. I'm gonna give you a chance to speak. I know about the accountability and also, but I wanna know what happened to your son briefly. What happened to your son? I think the viewers and the audience wanna know.
My son was an innocent victim caught in a crossfire shooting that was intended for somebody else. And he was 2 blocks away from the hospital when the shots rang out. And when they ran and they got about as far as a block in front of the hospital. When the police pulled up, demanded that they put my son down. And they're like, no, he's hurt. We've taken him right there to the hospital in clear sight. They refused. The cops again told them to do it this time, pull out their weapons, threatened to shoot them if they didn't put him down. They put him down, put them in a patrol car, and as people began gathering, where's the ambulance? They recognized my son fussing and cussing. The police called for more backup, never called for an ambulance. My son died on a curb across the street from the hospital. A lawsuit was filed in federal court for negligence because of a law. Once they took over the scene, my son in fact became in their custody, and they had a responsibility to get those in their custody medical attention when needed.
Counselor Lauren Razor. Like I said, you're in a precarious situation. We're talking about progress. We're talking about change. I know you had said it earlier today. Can you reiterate, can you repeat or add something about what the change that you want to make or what you're trying to do?
Well, I mean,
progress?
like I said, I take a unique position. And I've had experience with being New York City's senior trial lawyer. I'm not hiding my background. My background is what it is. But the one thing I've had in a major case that the city was sued and a lot of money was awarded to the victim is that I'm not looking to hide evidence. I turn over whatever has to be turned over, and whatever comes out in the investigation, it comes out in the investigation. So I think my role is a little bit different from a lot of other attorneys. So when I say that we're doing something different. Michael Bellinger, who was an attorney for Al Sharpton at one point in time, represented victims of police misconduct. Michael Bellinger is a partner at a firm. Michael Bellinger and his team is also looking at this case from the standpoint of what were the violations, if anything. What is the protocol? Why was there issues at the arraignment? Why is there not an arraignment on a Saturday night and it's over on Monday? So those questions are not being asked by a whole lot of people, but we're asking those questions ourselves. Again, I'm there May 4th.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I just want to say that I'm not angry or anything. It was just an emotional scene. I love all of you all dearly. Like I said, I feel your pain. I understand where you're coming from and all that. I believe that progress is slowly being made. However, I say that because the women are getting involved. I have a friend that said the women are out of order. And as women become in order, things are going to change, and I see it right now. I gotta give my shout out to Zaki Z Star Man for putting this thing together. You know, I want to give again my shout out to Z Star Man. Look us up on Facebook, like us up on Facebook. Remember, this is Dietrich Kelsey. Always stay in the light.
Sister Talk.
Hi, this is Dietrich Kelsey, and you're watching Sister Talk TV show after the live telecast. With me from the live telecast is, all the way to my right, is Dr. Tyreen Wright. Sitting next to her is Shaw Boogie. Sitting next to Shaw Boogie is Danette Chavis and Counselor Lauren Razor. We're going to continue our discussion on Say Her Name movement and Black Lives Matter. We have a studio audience member that's on the mic, and we want to know what she has to say. What's your name?
My name is Cynthia.
Cynthia.
And
where are you from again, Cynthia?
I'm from Mount Vernon, New York.
Say what you have to say.
And so the issue of say her name and Black Lives Matter is a very taboo phase in 2015 right now. Just to go back and think about when the Sandy Hook children were murdered,
yes,
those mothers did not play. They made sure that the gun charges and the gun laws would change within 3 months. So what you are experiencing right now, lawyer Ms. Razor, is you are experiencing mothers who have been fighting for a very long time. I not only sit with mothers whose sons were murdered by NYPD, but I also sit with mothers whose sons are murderers or murdered or are part of murdering. So black on black crime, I also sit with mothers like that. And after a while, you get tired of seeing the sadness. You get tired of it. So somebody have to step up to the plate. Now, in the movement right now, you do see a lot of mothers who are in the forefront, but that's what media wants you to see. They don't want you to see the black man in the forefront. I spoke to Mike Brown's father personally the other day when they had a forum right across the street at John Jay Criminal College. And those fathers sitting in the room, Oscar Grant uncle, Kenneth Chamberlain, all of those brothers that were sitting in the room, they said that the media makes sure that they're not in the forefront.
They're invisible.
So they are in the forefront. But it's very taboo right now. And I want to thank you.
Oh, thank you.
That you have the courage to touch on something that's taboo, because you're not going to see this. And whoever said that the revolution will not be televised, they ain't never lied. They're not going to revolutionize and show this part right here.
All right.
And so when you hear the net go off, Razor is not towards you.
Thank you.
It's towards
I know that.
the system.
Exactly.
Right? It is towards the system, a system that Sister Shah said that we are not a part of, never been a part of. They're not thinking of us at all. I know I am an assistant principal at a school, but guess what? I am a token.
Okay.
All right? And I understand that.
All right.
But I will not let anyone do anything to my children.
Right.
Therefore, I have my armor on.
Right.
So yes, I walk in, but I have my armor on, and they know straight up, that's the one you don't play with.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So I commend you. I
Okay.
thank you. And
Thank you.
everyone that's on the panel, I thank you. I am
Thank you.
sorry, Laura, that you got to go through, Lauren, that you got to go through what you're going through, but you ain't seen the sisters come out yet because they are on fire.
Yes.
And they are on fire because their children are in the ground, they're cold, and these officers are walking around free. They're sitting down and they're eating with their children. They're walking their daughter down the
And they
aisle.
should not be.
They're sitting at their son's graduation.
should
And we are sitting at plots. We are sitting and watching ashes. We are sitting in churches. And it got to stop. now.
Okay, thank you, Cynthia.
Can I say something about
Okay, because of time, I'm just giving everybody a minute of their last word, even 30 seconds, if we could do that. Okay, so go ahead.
when we talk about the system, we have to understand that it's not just the police. Just really quickly, the teachers that were trying to help the students in their school districts and they adjusted their grades a little bit, those individually got 20 years for trying to help their students get a better education. Jared, the subway guy, molested mad kids and got house arrest or some dumbness. Now, he's not even going to jail. So that shows you where it matters.
Okay.
Where the system is. It's not just us getting killed physically, but also mentally.
Okay, Tyreen?
Well, we have to take back our communities in every area of life. I mean, it's not a question about what we have to do. It's whether or not we want to take the responsibility to do it. You know, in my neighborhood, everybody looks like me. So we should be doing everything. Okay, in terms of education, why are other people educating our children? That's one of the mistakes we made that we will never stop paying for. Okay,
thank you.
So
Danette?
in every area of life, we have to
Danette?
take our communities back.
When I talk about accountability, I'm also talking about leadership, as Ms. Razor mentioned. In regard to Marley Graham's case, the officer was on an assignment he wasn't trained for. He entered into a home without a warrant, without permission, killed an unarmed man. Okay, there are things that department heads could have did to those officers for violating departmental procedures, violating the laws in regards to warrants that they did not do. We are made to wait for what a court decides or what a prosecutor does when there are things that occurred throughout the tragedy that the commanding officer or the commissioner themselves can address and deal with. Okay, they can, instead of giving a paid vacation, they can discipline, they can even fire them. In no case do we see any action on the part of the commanding officers or the commissioner. So when I say accountability, I'm talking about from the top to the bottom, not just on the police who murders, but those in authority over them who are hands off.
Okay.
They throw all the responsibility on what the court does.
Thank you.
We have a bigger responsibility, the lawyers that I know, and the lawyers of color, and I'm holding them accountable also because there are black lawyers and lawyers of color out here that have to do much, much more to assist the families in these situations. There are bar associations that are black that are not speaking out on these issues, and I'm sure they're going to call me soon. But a lot of us need to stand up, not just the parents, not just the ones on the front line, but it's us that need to stand up. I have done that in my entire career, sometimes at my peril. But in this situation, I can assure you, we are looking at it seriously. This is a black woman, and I stand here today to tell you that this is what we're looking to do to get to the truth. And it's not about a lawsuit or anything like that, but it's trying to make sure you get the facts to the best of my ability that I can get them for you.
Thank
and
you.
I can tell you that.
I'm going to give you your last statement. We can't answer his questions right now. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Nate. I'm from the Bronx, New York, and I love what you're doing. The platform is nice, and we, like the sister said, like we just, you know, it has to stop. The injustices has to stop within the community. So we just got to start taking action and then attack, you know. So I'm sorry for your loss, ma'am, and you know, hopefully things happen, you know, like it just comes back. You know, so thank you so much for letting me speak, and peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to wrap this up. We are going to close the live telecast up. But I just want to say this. Deetra Kelsey, host of Sistah Talk TV show. This is something that just came into my lap. Zakisi Starman said, hey, let's give you a show. I just wanted to be on TV. But I'm just here just to give the woman a voice with the help of Zakisi Starman. I love black people. You're not going to find anybody that loves black people more than I do. And I love the sisters out here. I love the womb-walking warriors, and that's what I call us, womb-walking warriors. I feel once we get together and work together, I think there will be progress. I believe there will be change. It all starts in the womb. We are the creators. We are the game changers. I really believe in my heart, and hopefully before I die, that we will not have to bury another child before they bury us. When Tamir Rice was shot less than a second, I cried. When that little boy, some years ago, he was playing on the rooftop and some cop just ran up to him and got scared and shot him, I cried. I cried on gang violence. When a 7-year-old or a 9-year-old or a 12-year-old gets somebody else's bullet, I cry. I love black people, and you're not going to ever find anybody that's blacker than me. Sistah Talk TV show, thank you for staying after the live telecast. As always, stay in the light, and peace, love.
Yes. That's right.
Okay, morning,